Paul only wrote letters when they were really needed, because he had to find someone to take the letter to the church he was writing to. Probably the first letter he ever wrote was to the churches in Galatia. And it's perhaps the second most important letter he wrote, Romans being the first. But Galatians is a kind of declaration of independence. It's a kind of freedom document. And its main concern is that Christians have a choice. They can either go back under the law, which will imprison them, or they can go into license, which is no law at all, or they can live in the liberty of the Spirit. And that's Paul's aim. And so he really takes them through his own life and his own ministry at the beginning to show how he fought for the freedom of Christian Gentile believers against people who tried to turn them into Jews. We call them Judaizers, but they were really wanting to bring new converts back under legalism, under the law. And Paul fought them to the last ditch. And he was particularly focusing in on the rite of circumcision, which is not an issue today, but it was then, because he said, if you get circumcised, you're putting yourself under the whole law of Moses with all its 613 requirements. But he was just as keen to save them from license. That's the opposite of legalism. There's a liberty in the Spirit, a liberty that brings fruit of the Spirit, that is just the opposite of what he called the works of the flesh. We're to live in the Spirit, not in the flesh, and not under the law. And that's the real freedom in Christ that he was fighting for. It's a declaration of liberty for the Christian in the Spirit. So come with me through Galatians. That's the title of my verse by verse exposition of that wonderful letter.